for joining this session, where we will discuss the AI revolution in transforming language education. My name is Rehab Ndwati from Kenya. I'm thrilled to invite Katy O'Grady, who currently serves as the head of languages at Rangitoto College, New Zealand's second largest secondary school, bridging 13 years of teaching experience from various educational settings to their role. She specializes in Spanish and French. She's passionate about actively navigating the intricate world of AI in education. Please give her a warm round of applause as she takes the stage. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Kia ora, hello, greetings from Auckland in the beautiful Aotearoa, New Zealand, where the time is currently 2:30 a.m. on Thursday. So hello from the future. My name is Katy O'Grady, and my goal for this session is to share how generative AI can be a powerful ally in the language learning journey, offering unique benefits to students and teachers alike. I must disclose that I am by no means an expert. I'm still learning, and I'm discovering this incredible technology that seems to be evolving by the hour. And I'd like to share what I've learned so far on my journey. I'd like to start with a simple explanation of generative AI language models. Generative AI artificial intelligence language models are sophisticated systems that generate human-like text based on extensive language datasets. They are much more than automated translators. They are dynamic tools for content creation, answering questions, and interactive learning. Or at least that is what ChatGPT told me it was. Everyday examples of AI in daily life include predictive text in smartphones, email auto-completion, and customer service chatbots. These applications demonstrate AI's pervasive role in enhancing our digital interactions. There has been a lot of hesitancy around the use of AI in education. The media has been throwing around headlines of cheating and academic dishonesty and accusations constantly for the past 12 months, an educator's worst nightmare. But we need to remember, like the initial skepticism but eventual indispensability of the internet in education, generative AI language models will eventually become essential tools in learning, signaling a new era in educational technology. We're living in exciting times. Earlier this year, the International Baccalaureate published a statement on their views, stating latest developments in artificial intelligence software, such as ChatGPT, can write sophisticated essay responses, have generated a great deal of interest and discussion. The IB will not ban the use of AI software. The reason being is that it is an ineffective way to deal with innovation. Matt Glanville, Director of Assessment at the IB, does state that work produced by artificial intelligence tools, even only in part, will not be considered as a student's own. As with any quote or material adapted from another source, it must be clear that AI-generated work included in a piece of assessment has been taken from such software, and it must be credited in the body of the text and appropriately referenced. And these are skills that we need to teach our students. Last week, I attended a webinar run by Total Education, and the presenter, Sarah Phillips, had some really great ideas about reframing how we teach students to do citations in those early stages. The example she used was how I used to think citation was about giving authors credit. And now I think it's also about showing how we think, and helping others follow our thought process. So I thought that was a really nice way to reframe the narrative. If we teach students how to ethically use generative AI models as a tool for brainstorming or organizing ideas, and then to correctly cite that work, I think that's a huge step in the right direction towards academic integrity when using generative AI. As language teachers, we have the experience of dealing with disruptive technologies due to Google Translate being an issue for many years. So the issue of students using technology to write their Spanish essay for them is nothing novel. The only difference is that generative AI has removed the step of having to write the essay in English or their mother tongue first. So what's the solution? Back to pen and paper? No way. This year in my class, I have been requiring students to write more by hand, but by no means ruling out technology altogether. So an example of this is with my seniors, we've been doing 10-minute guided free writing twice a week on a variety of topics. So the intention of this is to build up a bank of student worked exemplars that can be compared with assessment tasks if necessary. The side benefit of this is that students are practicing their writing and fighting against over-reliance on spelling and grammar checkers. I also make a point of writing by hand myself and producing examples on the board for students. This is about my own professional integrity and ensuring that I'm not becoming overly reliant on spelling and grammar checkers in French and Spanish or English myself. I found this was especially important for me after lockdown because I spent so much time teaching online. It was incredible how I doubted my handwritten spelling, and I was second guessing the way in which the accent marks should be pointing on return to the classroom when I was in front writing on the board. I also encouraged the teachers in my team to be conversant with and to explore the generative AI so that they have an awareness of how students can and might use it. I tend to talk a lot about ChatGPT in this presentation because that is the tool that I use the most, I'm the most familiar with. There are so many tools out there, it's just amazing. There's also a lot of information to show how AI is useful in making the teacher workload more manageable. So I think that staff need to first be able to meaningfully identify student misuse in AI. They need to be familiar with what ChatGPT tools how to use them themselves. So staff need to be able to teach students how to effectively and ethically, responsibly use AI in the languages discipline. That's what we're looking at today. So I want to move away from the catching students or stopping students from cheating mindset and look at enabling and educating students how to use AI safely. While the opportunities for critical thinking are endless in a carefully designed lesson on how to use AI, I'm going to start with some language-specific examples on how high school students might benefit from generative AI. In this first example, the prompt I gave ChatGPT was, I've just started learning Spanish. Can you give me some simple questions about myself so I can practice? If I make mistakes, please correct me and explain the mistake before continuing the conversation. So ChatGPT started very simply, ¿Cómo te llamas? What's your name? And we carried on. I had to remind ChatGPT to explain things to me in English because I was supposed to be a beginner. Then it asked me questions like, do you have any pets? What's your favorite color? All pitched at the correct level, which was great. It was very encouraging and positive reinforcement with very clear explanations, which is exactly what a beginner wants to hear. So I loved when it gave me the answers. At one point I said it was too difficult. So then it changed the pitch and said I could answer with just sí or no. And it gave me a lot more English input too. So again, the teachers need to know how to use that to be able to give the guidance to the students. And then that is a fantastic tool for students to be able to practice on their own. when I had asked it to change the level, it was too difficult. It gave me the options, and then I could choose, I could just copy the answer. So it was really good for differentiating and scaffolding my learning. Okay, this works equally well for advanced learners. So for this prompt, I wrote, now I'm taking on the role of a more advanced high school student who has been studying Spanish for 4 years. I will ask some grammar-based questions and I'd like you to explain the rules for me. So that's what I typed into ChatGPT just so it knew what was coming up. And then I said, I've forgotten the rules of how and when to use the imperfecto tense. Could you please explain? And then it explains the rules very clearly using simple language with clear examples. It even shows you the verb endings for conjugation and how to use the tense correctly. By the way, down the bottom here, there's a disclaimer saying that ChatGPT can make mistakes, and it does, which as the teacher, you would have been through this in your lesson of how to use ChatGPT carefully with your students. And so you would get your students to advise them to cross-check their information. So a conscientious student, if they were unsure of these verb endings or suspicious, we would teach them their critical thinking skills, would teach them to maybe double check that. You never trust everything that ChatGPT says straight away. But if they did know their Spanish, they would recognize that and think, okay, yes, that's right. I remember that now. And then it had told me that it reminded me there are 2 different types of tenses that we use here with the imperfect. So then I asked it to explain the 2 different types. And then finally, it gave me some exercises that I could practice the 2 different types. By the way, all of these could be used in a lesson as a teacher as well. These are very quick copy paste exercises you could use for a do now to start the lesson, or to copy and paste onto your grammar slides to save some time instead of typing it all out. But here we're trying to focus on the student. So next is my favorite part. Down the bottom here, we can see the little recording sign, and it says English UK. So this is a new add-on that I've just recently discovered. I'm maybe a little bit late to the game. So this is an extension for Chrome called Voice Control for ChatGPT. So this is how you can get speaking practice in. So you can see at the end here, ChatGPT has said, after they've given me the 5 question exercises, after you've filled in the blanks, I can check your answers and provide explanations if needed, which is very helpful. So I could just type these answers, but instead I've decided I want to practice my spoken Spanish, my pronunciation maybe, or I'm a bit lazy to type. So instead of typing out these exercises, I just held down the space bar and I verbally answered these exercises. And it worked perfectly well. ChatGPT still corrected me or answered and gave me the same amount of encouragement, which was fantastic. I'll just show you what it does when I made a little mistake. Oh, that was my arrow for pointing out that bit. So in this question 2, I accidentally let go of the space bar too soon. I was still talking. And ChatGPT very helpfully jumped in with some hints and encouragement to try and help me to finish the sentence. And this time I just sort of tapped the space bar without saying anything, channeling my very best moody teenager. And ChatGPT withheld any judgment and then helped me out with the correct answer. So it lets you make one mistake, and then if you get it wrong again, it seems then it gives you the correct answer. but with a very concise explanation, or detailed explanation, really, isn't it? And then it still encourages you, which is what we want. So it's fantastic. With the correct guidance on prompting, students can use this to role play ordering meals, booking hotels or flights, having phone conversations, practicing job interviews, anything. The sky's the limit, all in the target language, both written and spoken. So they literally have a language tutor at their disposal 24/7, anywhere with an internet connection. So now this is where it gets really exciting. This is still related to ChatGPT, but I haven't had a chance to play around with this yet. Our summer holidays start at the end of next week, so I'll finally have time to give this one a go. This is called Talkio AI. It's a paid app which takes the voice control for ChatGPT to the next level. So Talkio AI is different from voice control for ChatGPT because it offers a customized experience for language learning, and it offers more features, including pronunciation. It assesses your pronunciation and gives feedback. It has premium voice features, integrated feedback, and translations. So the main thing that I really like here is the pronunciation, because that's something that when I was playing around with just the extension on ChatGPT, it couldn't give any feedback on pronunciation. So it could pick up your voice, but it couldn't give you any feedback on that. It would only give feedback on the actual grammar of the words you're saying. So it was still text-based. So this is really exciting if it can help you with your pronunciation too. So it's next level in my eyes. But like I say, I haven't played around with it yet. So it also says, the other exciting thing, choose between 134 languages and accents. So the languages it has lots of different accents and multiple dialects for the most popular languages, which includes 22 Spanish accents. So every Spanish-speaking country, they have a different accent for each of those countries, plus 14 English accents. So I was really happy to see when you scroll down, they have both the New Zealand accent. So when you choose a language, you can choose New Zealand English and also Australian English, which really interests me because most people around the world, apart from New Zealanders and Australians, can't tell the difference between the two. So the fact that an artificial intelligence model is, separating them really excites me. So you can actually language train yourself to tell the difference between these two accents. Cool. So like I said, this is a paid model. Right now, the prices range from $9 a month to $49 a month. And they all have the same features, but I think the only difference I can see is that the more expensive plans have higher usage limits. So if anyone has used that before, or if you have tried it, if you've used the trial, let me know what you think. Okay, how are we going for time? 10 minutes. Where to start? This is a fantastic course, AI for Education. This would be, they call it themselves an essential guide to AI for educators, and I would 100% endorse that. It's a great intro for beginners or hesitant learners. So that's a big challenge I've seen in schools, is that a lot of teachers are just hesitant. They're scared, really, because it's quite daunting, the world of AI for education, and students seem to pick it up. They're already there, they're using it. Okay, so I think my main advice is that we need to jump on board too, because the kids are using it, and we need to be aware of what they're doing. Not in terms of catching them cheating. I don't like to think of that. I think that we need to guide them and teach them how to use this responsibly. That's our job. So yeah, I think we need to educate ourselves. Absolutely, that's our duty. So this is a great place to start, an essential guide for AI educators. So it's a great introduction to AI. It's really good for getting started in ChatGPT. It's an introduction to prompt engineering, which is really helpful for because you can only get out what you put in to any of these generative AI platforms. It's got strategies for using ChatGPT in your practice, ethical implications of AI in your classroom, introducing students to AI, which is really what we're focused on, getting the students using it ethically. And the best thing, it's free. It's a 2-hour course, and it's hands-on. It's designed for educators, and it's just fantastic. The other thing is it has fantastic resources as well, like a lot of beautiful infographics that are very useful for your school or workplace. So this is one that really stood out to me. How to use AI responsibly every time. So if we use the word every to remind us to evaluate the initial output to see if it meets the intended purpose and your needs, to verify the facts, figures, quotes, and data using reliable sources to ensure there are no hallucinations or bias. So hallucinations is when ChatGPT or other generative AI language models tend to sort of make things up sometimes. Edit your prompt and ask it follow-up questions. Revise the results to reflect your unique needs. And you are always responsible for everything you create with AI. Always be transparent about how you've used these tools. And that relates back to the referencing citations. So there are so many infographics that they have available on that website as well, AI for Education. Fantastic pool of resources. If you are short on time, as teachers are, all of us educators are very, very time poor, which is why AI is so helpful for us. It's like a teaching assistant once you get to know it well. This is a very quick, short crash course to introduce you to AI for education specifically. And that is a link there, which I can probably share. Yeah, so that is there, digitalaccesspass.com.au. So that's an Australian website. And the other place where I've found so many amazing resources is on Facebook. There are so many Facebook groups. These are the ones that I'm in. And yeah, in particular, related to languages, language teaching with AI, and teaching and, is it the only language one? Yeah. Sorry, but yeah, there's so many education AI Facebook groups. Yeah, and this language teaching with AI is run by Joe Dale, who seems to be the absolute expert on all things languages and ed tech. So yes, Joe Dale is the one to look up. He is fantastic. Right, where am I up to? Sorry, I will remind you it's now nearly 3 a.m. at the end of a very long school year. So that will bring me to my final thought. Are our jobs at risk? Because that's the other thing that we've been reading a lot about in the media is AI taking people's jobs. Will AI replace teachers? My first thought is the risk is more for teachers who can effectively use and integrate AI and technology will have an edge over teachers who can't or who don't, and they put themselves at risk of being left behind rather than being replaced by AI itself. But most of all, AI is a tool. Teachers are humans with a heart, and we're the ones who make connections and provide love and support that our students need. So that is the big thing. But overall, I encourage all educators to learn about AI actively, to go out there to learn, because understanding diminishes fear. If you're already using it, share your knowledge with your colleagues, because AI is here to stay. Right, does anyone have any questions? Or any thoughts, or if you could share your experience with AI, please type in the chat box. I'd love to hear your experience. Otherwise, thank you so much. Thank you for bearing with me.
All right, thank you so much, Katie, and I
Thank
hope that you've
you.
all learned thing that you can utilize, especially on how to use ChatGPT. So I think we will just go on to the next session, and I hope that you have a wonderful time. Thank you.